Hello, everybody. This is your host, Fernando, here from sellerboard. Today, I have a very special guest. His name is Augustas Kligys from 𝐟𝐫𝐞𝐞. And if you haven't been to his YouTube channel already, please do because his videos are very cool. If you are an Amazon seller and if you're looking for tips, his YouTube channels are a must. And don't forget, before we start this interview, you have to go to sellerboard.com. Click on the demo, play with the software. We have all the tools you need to succeed selling on Amazon. I'll see you guys at the end. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is your host, Fernando from sellerboard. I have a very special guest, which I'm a very good fan. I'm watching all his videos. I have here with me Augustas Kligys. Did I say it right?
Yes, it's one of the best pronunciations. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. And tell me about your company, Augustas. Where do you work?
Yeah, so thank you for having me. I'm originally from Lithuania, currently based in Portugal, and 𝐟𝐫𝐞𝐞 is more international team. We produce video content for Amazon sellers on YouTube. Recently got 15,000 subscribers already, and doing events, virtual and physical ones. So this year maybe we'll focus more on physical events, already planning to run a couple of them, and this is what we do, video content and events.
So I got 𝐟𝐫𝐞𝐞 for us. That is so cool. Thank you so much, Augustas, for being here. Okay, first question of the interview. Tell us your story.
I used to be a digital nomad when nobody was the digital nomad, when there was no this kind of phrase. Nobody was using that. I was traveling the world and like combining with occasional work. It was in like almost 20 years ago, 17 years ago. Then I met my wife from Germany. We traveled the world, like we were living on the road like for 6-7 years. It was like 2005, 2012.
You speak German now?
I do speak broken German. Yeah, I do speak broken Spanish. Yeah, speak few other languages. But yeah, we were traveling the world, and during that time I was a bit programming, a little bit. So you can say I was a digital nomad. Used to travel with a USB stick of 2 GB space and had all my files. I go to internet cafe and sit there for the whole day programming, uploading to FTP, doing like websites. And then these Asus EEE laptops, small ones, portable ones, appeared in 2007 or something. So I got one of those ones where it was like just 4 GB space or something in the hard disk. So I finally had a laptop to program offline, and then I went to internet cafes to upload all my files. But yeah, then at some point we stopped traveling. We got a child who is now 10-year-old, and yeah, thank you. And yeah, I was really bored of this not traveling, but of programming. It was not yeah, making me feel good. And then I was searching what else can I do. And about 7 years ago, more than 7 years ago, I found out about Amazon FBA business model. And then I found out about virtual summits business model. I combined them, and 6.5 years ago, I released the first virtual summit for Amazon FBA industry. So I was kind of the pioneer with this type of educational format. I had like 26 speakers. Everything was for free. People could watch for the whole week for free. And if, of course, they had like limitation to watch each video for 1 day only. And I was monetizing it by selling recordings. And I was pretty happy after the event. I earned like $8,000 as a side income while I was still programming for my, supporting my family. So I was pretty surprised what's possible. And then I kept doing more of virtual summits. I stepped out from programming, and yeah, by today, after 7 years almost, we did, I lost count, maybe like 10 virtual summits and 9 physical events. And
have you ever done any physical events in the United States?
No, there was some thought. I was almost doing it about 4 years ago. But when I was seeing the budgets that in US, everything is like 3 times more expensive. And at that time at Orange Click, I didn't really have like, if I would have done in US, probably it would have went very well. Because I had one very big influencer backing me up, like saying like he would help to promote, but I would have needed to put everything I have. Maybe I would need to borrow a bit more money, so I didn't want. It just felt like very kind of. I was afraid, to go all in for some kind of event in America, and in America already there are enough events. My dream was to create event in Mexico, the PPC Congress. 3.5 years ago, we did the event for Amazon advertising enthusiasts and agencies and consultants. So it was an event in Amsterdam, very successful one, like everybody would love this. And I thought to repeat it in Mexico. But then COVID happened, and then for 2 years we did no physical events. And now we're kind of recovering, but more focusing on European, locations, because
I'm waiting for the invitation for the next physical one. I'm going.
Yeah, next one is actually in 7 days. In
oh, really? Okay, so
in Portugal.
But so let's go. Let me find a flight now. I have here the Prime Air jets.
Oh, cool. Amazon FC Prime, yeah. Yeah, and the next one is in Prague in June, and yeah.
Okay, Prague, I think I can go. Let me ask you something. What is the speaker that people like the most?
I think it's changing. I have been in the space almost 7 years, and some influencers or experts, they appear for 1, 2 years, 3 years, and they disappear, just like completely disappear from the industry, which I totally understand. But some are staying for 7 years. So one of them is, I would say, like Chris Rawlings, which is quite often we invite him to our YouTube channel. He always over delivers, so we like him because of that, and our audience loves him.
What's his name again?
Chris Rawlings from Sophie Society. So he's one of the Chris Rawlings. Yeah.
From where?
Sophie Society is his company. They do like PPC management, and also some content, A+ content creation for Amazon sellers. Other quite well-known speaker is 𝐭𝐫𝐞𝐞, but maybe he's now not so. He's not appearing in public.
He's a classic.
So often.
Yeah.
So I remember
already a classic.
He was watching my first virtual summit, so he's still like kind of in the business. But and those which appear for 2 years and disappear, it's kind of easy to forget. So there are not so many which are consistent and staying in the industry. But I totally understand when some people leave the industry just because either maybe their business idea failed, maybe it was a service or software, or maybe it just sometimes your heart is calling for something else, want to do something else, and you're just tired in some way, energetically, from what you're doing, and you want to change the life.
Or maybe they just got rich.
I was thinking,
shit.
I don't know.
We're gonna have to edit this part. Sorry.
You cannot swear.
No, when you can't. Yeah. Let me ask you something. What is like on all the summits that you did? What do you think is like the biggest mistake that you see sellers do? Is there like 1 or 3 mistakes that you see sellers doing that you learn from your summits?
Okay, so when we do events, physical or virtual, of course, we work more with the experts, the other side, the service providers. Our experts and speakers are mostly service providers because they have motivation to be in front of our Amazon seller audience. Very rare cases we manage to interview some sellers, but usually sellers don't go on the stage. There is no motivation for them to do that. And maybe whatever I learn about Amazon sellers, it comes from like service provider, the expert side. What they tell me, this is what kind of I learned what's happening with Amazon sellers. Our audience, yeah, Amazon sellers, but there is not so much like one-on-one direct contact unless we're doing physical event. But what I saw, let's say Amazon sellers, which are coming especially to our, maybe not even physical, also virtual events. Like I have a feeling that those who are doing like 7 or 8 figures, these people finding time to follow all possible kind of webinars or information which is out there, even if it's like free webinar, they would still either watch themselves or ask the team to watch, looking for these like small nuggets in each kind of webinar. And especially if it's like a new expert popping up with a webinar, I think they would watch it just to learn something new and fresh. And so this was my impression that those successful ones are really consuming content with a goal to find these tips, and they are very attentive, and then they implement and test it. Of course, there are a lot of like beginner sellers which are listening everything, and they are still dreaming and never start. And we did have like
the talkers. We call them the talkers.
Yeah, or maybe like they are just, they are not learned to take action, and most of people are not taking action, I think. Even like if somebody sells a course in any kind of industry, only like 3 or 5% accomplish the whole course. And those are case studies, successful case studies. All other people, they probably just invest $2,000 into courses and they
drop it.
Yeah, they drop it. And it happened to me also. I bought some course for $1,500 like some years ago, and I didn't do it. I started, but I saw it's to implement everything what the teacher is telling is so much, like you need a lot of dedication. You need to work the same as the teacher worked to get where they are. So and maybe of course some people are expecting like easy money or something. So yeah, I think you need to hustle and work. And sometimes people asking, or why Augustas, why you are not an Amazon seller? And I had intention 2 times to be an Amazon seller. One, I started with kind of this virtual summit format. I was really interested, but at that time I didn't have money. 1 or 2 years later, I had a relative which could have supported with money. So we were searching for a product, and it was kind of, it was very complex process for us to find a product. After 4 months, we found something. And then I consulted some of the industry experts I have connections to, and they said, oh, no, don't do this. Like this one is like, has bad stats. I'm like, and I was so discouraged after 4 months searching for a product, and they say, no, it's not good. And then I realized, like running an Amazon business, it most likely at the beginning will be like full-time job. And what we are doing at 𝐿𝐴, I work full-time already, so it's very hard to incorporate.
Thank you for finding the time for having us.
Yeah. But I think it's also for Amazon sellers, it's important that they like really dedicate the focus to that. If they want to be successful, or if they want to start selling, they just have to dedicate, and it will be hard. It's like, everything. And all the successful people we see, most of the time, like really they hustled and they didn't sleep at night until they achieved this after many years.
And while you do that, you also have views that don't stop coming. So that's the hard part. Let me ask you something else. When is the next virtual event?
At the moment, we're not planning a virtual event because we are kind of working on 2-3 physical events, and it's quite a lot of moving pieces. So, and virtual event needs about 2 months of like 2-3 people's work. And at the moment, like we don't have enough, people to work on that. And maybe like virtual summit can bring more revenue financially, but to me personally, physical event is more fun. Like when it's accomplished, and when I come to an event we create, and I see these sellers meeting experts and this physical touch, it's more rewarding for me personally. So virtual summit is, you still sit in front of computer, but with physical event, you get this big energy when you come to the physical event. And of course, I would encourage all the Amazon sellers to go to like free meetups or whatever events you see, either in like your niche or where you're selling products, or in your Amazon circle, like Go, if it's paid or free event, it's very powerful. And sometimes you never know what kind of connections and people you can meet. And it's the most powerful, these physical meetings.
You had an event the end of last year, right? It was a virtual event, and all the videos are on YouTube, correct? I think I watched most of them. When did you how was this event? When it started, how long it was for? How was everything?
So last year, actually, we did 2 physical and 3 virtual. So the one which was in November, it was like the 3rd virtual event in 2022. We called all 3 virtual events last year Seller Fest Online, and they all were streamed to YouTube. And it was 25, 30 live streams. When I started to do virtual summits 7 years ago, I was selling the recordings, so people had limited time to watch. But now we kind of established this format where we stream to the YouTube, so people can watch at any time for free. But we were monetizing through sponsors and through VIP. We created a VIP package, kind of additional content with each speaker.
Nice.
And during last event, I think we had like almost 1,000 people signing up to listen. But of course, these videos are always on YouTube, so people can watch. And but at the same time, while we were doing that event, I was working on a physical event, which I did in December after Christmas. Between Christmas and New Year, I did in my home country, in Lithuania, also event where we got like 160 people with 10 speakers for one day. So yeah, it's always kind of, I end up every day working on 2 or 3 events plus video content. So it's
very nice. Very cool. What would you say, Augustas, is your biggest problem today?
I think team, to find the really knowledgeable and dedicated people who can work with us. Last year we tried some, but yeah, most didn't kind of fit in for us, or we didn't fit in for them. And this kind of learning how to scale, like maybe it's also I am learning, like I built this, what we're doing now from scratch. I started alone programming by doing my full-time programming and then working at nights and for virtual summits. And then now we are few people, we are maybe 4 or 5. Not everybody is full-time, but yeah, we are constantly kind of looking and trying to work with some people. But this is, I would say, the biggest kind of challenge in 𝐼𝐸𝐞𝐞.
Okay, so listen up, guys. They're hiring. All right, let me ask you something else. Let me ask you something else. What do you have in mind for 2023?
Usually I go with the flow. I know some people like to put some big goals, financial or numbers in some achievements. But for me personally works when I just follow my heart. I personally plan some events like maximum into 5 months in advance, 5, 6. If it's big event, if we for sure know that we will do it, we might plan like much longer in advance. But yeah, we go with the flow, and some ideas pop up and we just implement them in 2, 3 months. And yeah, so it's basically, that's the plan, to go with the flow, follow the heart, and see if we notice some gap in some demand in the industry in terms of like events or content. We try to provide this kind of maybe new formats. Sometimes, yeah, I like to, when we can innovate in formats, for example, on our YouTube channel, regular videos are maybe like just interviews up to 1 hour. But I think 1 and 2 years ago, we also did like a full-length workshops, we called, like 3-4 hours. People can learn on one topic from one company. So we tested this kind of format as well. So yeah, we are keeping kind of to be consistent with what we're doing and innovating a little bit. So yeah, that's how we live every day.
One thing that I think it's very cool is that I used to work at agencies, and when you are working with agencies, you see like the practice, the hands-on experience with so many accounts. And then when you start going to one company, you lose that sight. So I really miss that opportunity to like to go back and see like a bunch of accounts and see people operating the account, solving problems with that accounts, because you learn even more when you are in an agency. You have hundreds of accounts to work on and see their problems. So that's something that I really miss.
To see this big overview of how to compare how different sellers are doing, right?
Yeah, and also seeing how they solving those different problems, because they really improved my career to see so many problems working agencies, and you see all types of problems going on with all types of companies. And then when you go to one company, you kind of get stuck, like just do that practice, just miss that practice. Let me ask you something else. What do you think about the marketplaces? What's your prediction for the marketplaces, especially in the United States? Do you think Amazon is going to still be leading? Do you think our events are going to start changing to Amazon and Walmart together? Do you think there's going to be other players in the future? Do you think like TikTok is trying to do a fulfillment center here in the United States? They may have a fulfillment by TikTok. So what do you think? What do you think the e-commerce marketplace is going to look like in the future?
I'm not positioning myself as an e-commerce expert, so I don't give such opinions. But what you mentioned, like Walmart, TikTok, fulfillment center, I didn't even know that TikTok is doing this. But
they were hiring people to build a fulfillment center. I don't know how that went.
And yeah, all this is like it's it's happening in the United States. We are more in Europe. We do create content which is targeting Amazon sellers in North America as well. But in terms of like, all the events and all these developments, yeah, it's not coming so easy to us in Europe in terms of like even the news, like, because a lot of, for example, sellers in Germany, they sell only in European marketplace. So if there is like American speaker in the event, they are looking for information for them to apply in the European marketplace. And if it's like a lawyer talking about US problems, it's very irrelevant. So yeah, I believe like a lot of sellers in Europe, especially, they are not like really, for them, it doesn't matter if there is Walmart doing something in America or not, because Walmart is not in Europe. And but of course it's interesting to observe. I feel like Walmart is really pushing hard, sponsoring big events of Amazon sellers, even virtual events. I saw one event, which is running, I think, this week, also will be sponsored by Walmart. And I wish them good luck, but I feel like Amazon has just a strong position. I myself, whenever I need to shop something, especially in Portugal, e-commerce has very bad state, like it's not developed at all. And there are not so many kind of shops to buy from. So whenever I need to buy something, I buy from Amazon Spain. It's very convenient.
That's what I was imagining.
Yeah, still arrive some products within like 24 hours, like next day. I order now in the afternoon, I get next like midday. Nice. Most of the products, so it's like really, it's hard to beat them, I think. And they have very strong position. And good luck to all these other players who are trying something. It would be nice to see, something new, especially like now nobody knows what will happen with this chat GPT type of searching. Like soon one, maybe like other companies will implement, and maybe, who knows, maybe Google will lose some position just because somebody else will create a better.
It's already behind, yeah.
Yeah. So
it just launched bars to try to compete with ChatGPT.
Yeah, so I'm also very much interested to see this movie of suddenly somebody is changing the positions. But for me, as a kind of, I'm not like influencing that, so I'm just taking what's best for me. And I remember talking about this kind of, Yahoo 20 years ago was like the #1 search engine, and I had an American friend coming to my place to Lithuania, and he was sitting at work at my computer to check emails, and then he opened this website. At that time, Yahoo was full of news on the homepage, and at the top there is a search bar. And this guy is opened, like it's written Google, just 5 or 6 letters on the screen, and search bar. I said, "What's this?" Oh, he says it's a search engine. I said, like, why don't you use Yahoo? Oh, this one is much better. And I'm like, what's that? And it was the first time when I saw Google. It was like, I don't know, 2000 or something. I was, or even like earlier, 98. And then, yeah, with the time they took over. And like sometimes it's really surprising how it can change.
Nice. What do you think? What do you think are the traits of the best speakers that people really like? Do you think like there are like certain qualities that the speaker have when you're looking for a new speaker?
Yeah, definitely. So actually, we are kind of preparing a blog post to write tips for speakers to be better on virtual podcasts, but also on the stage. But I personally probably did like 600, 700 interviews. And when we did like also virtual summits, I can see which speakers, after releasing their talk, which speakers get like kind of feedback and even like clients from listeners, and which not. And the kind of #1 rule is to not to think of selling anything in your talk. So perfect example is Chris Rawlings, which I mentioned. Like Chris Rawlings, he starts a webinar. He would not like, he would mention what he does if we ask, but then he would deliver 1 hour of pure content, pure like tips. There is nothing like he's selling in the back end. And then at the end, he would say what he wants maybe to promote. And then he really gets quite good feedback from people. And then the general rule for expert is that really to think through the value. And I think like, I would say only 20% of speakers are able to think through the value, because as most of the experts and speakers are service providers, so in their mind is like how to get awareness of their brand and their services. So they're coming to make presentations, or they come to podcasts from this perspective. And the viewer can feel that the guy is like just trying to around the corner push what they do, and it's totally understandable. But the most success I saw through the people which like just deliver very detailed tips and actionable information. And for example, 𝐭𝐫𝐞𝐞 is another kind of very good presenter who does very detailed slides, step-by-step explanations of actionable content. And that's why he was quite popular in the past when he was traveling through the different events. And sometimes when, some speakers, especially new ones, approach us and they ask for tips, what kind of, presentation I should do. I say like, watch this video with this speaker. This speaker, it's a perfect example how you should do it if you want like really big success.
So I think two big takeaways for our viewers today in this video is that we found 2 people that are very important with content, which is Kevin. What's his last name? So I forgot his last name.
𝐭𝐫𝐞𝐞,
of course,
and
Chris Rawling from Sophie Society.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to bring those two into our podcast. But you're also welcome to go on YouTube and start looking for those videos. Like Augusta said, they have really good content. So that's something for us to keep in mind to get tips from them. Nice. Yes, very cool.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. What is, now I'm going to make you embarrassed. What is the biggest mistake you did making the summits?
I think we were pretty okay. There was no mistake from our side. Sometimes, it just happens where you have like expectation to, let's take an event which is happening in 1 week. We are doing this kind of type of event. It's called bar camp. It's not really a conference with speakers. It's more like where sellers are exchanging information and tips themselves. And we did it already in Portugal in 2022. We had like 100 people. And now we did everything the same kind of promoting in similar way. And we expected more than 100 people, but we got, I think, just 60 people we're getting in the upcoming event. And it's feels like maybe we didn't do something enough, but on the other hand, we really pushed strong. And like sometimes you don't understand like why the audience or like the people reacted in different way. They decided not to come to basically the same kind of event. And but more funny, like or more stressful situations was, I remember in PPC Congress when we did in Amsterdam. We were waiting for audio video guys from Czech Republic, because in Amsterdam, in Netherlands, the audio video service is super expensive, and I got like 3 times cheaper from Czech Republic. Some guys coming with a small Opel, 3 guys with all the equipment, with loudspeakers, with the microphones during the day, like 1,000 kilometers traveling. And we thought they are traveling, and we have event like in 12 hours. We have to open the doors, and at 9 o'clock in the evening, they are still not in the venue and not in the hotel. I was like really worried, and we couldn't reach them, maybe because they were traveling and without connection. I was really stressed. I thought like, oh, this is our plan B, because there is no plan B. How can you get some equipment in 12 hours overnight? But luckily, like around 11 p.m., they arrived, and yeah, everything was set by the morning. But yeah, it was the biggest stress probably. And always with this, especially physical events, this is where you are stressing the most, because you have to very well plan in advance everything. And if you miss ordering, let's say, backpacks with your logo, because they need, to print the logos on the backpacks for maybe it needs 1 week, shipping maybe 1 week. So if you like order too late, then you will not have that feature in your event. So it's the most stressful is to think of all the pieces and to
okay. I want some swag from 𝐿, please. You can ship it to my house.
If you pay shipping, I can send. Okay. Yeah, well, I have couple of literally. My wife said like, "Oh, Augustas, what do we do with these backpacks? He's like 3 years old."
Ship it to me.
And I am thinking like I need to give away to some kids or something.
Question: from all your free videos on YouTube, which one is the best one that sellers must watch to get the most value from?
Probably sellers, they have to decide what they want to learn, because some sellers, they are weak in maybe advertising, so they should look something about advertising. So, but if it's like, if we don't care what topic, if you will search in our channel for the most popular videos, it will definitely be one of the top videos will be by Chris Rawlings. And as I said, like, yeah, he always over delivers. And we just had a webinar with him 2 days ago, and people, were
for the people that are
enthusiastic.
stopping this video to watch his Chris Rawlings video right now, just don't forget to try seller boards, because I'm going to speak about seller board in the end. So if you're pausing this video now to go watch Chris Rawlings, don't forget to stop at seller boards and watch the demo and play with the demo. All right, you can continue now. Sorry.
Yeah, and we have a couple of videos about sellerboard also on our channel. Our channel is kind of, special in the industry, because it's not like one person talking head like most of the YouTube channels. And we are not service providers which want to be aware that, let's say, sellerboard wants to bring awareness about the company and the tool to the community. So you are doing podcasts. In our case, we are doing these interviews to bring a neutral stage for service providers to come to us and be interviewed. Of course, there are some conditions. We cannot just especially if it's a new company we never worked with. We would unlikely start doing a free interview just because it takes our team's work and time and money and so on. But yeah, we are kind of positioning ourselves as a free, neutral stage for anyone to get exposure. And sellerboard was quite often on our channel as well.
Nice. Thank you. I had one question. I forgot. I totally forgot what the question was. Okay, so we don't have any other virtual summits planned for this year, but you will probably have one soon. So I advise everybody to go to his YouTube channel, 𝐿𝐴𝐴, click on the subscribe button, get the notifications, because his YouTube channel is really good. And also, let me ask you something. Do you make money on YouTube?
Through the YouTube ads, yes, it's turned on, but it's very minimal. Like, yeah, even like 3 years ago when we were 3 times smaller in terms of subscribers, we were getting a bit more than now. So it's basically going down. Yeah, it's yeah, I have no idea how it works. Like literally, we're getting like less than $1,000 per month. So it's you cannot live with this kind of channel. Well, if you would do alone, maybe if it's like this amount of money is enough for you, if you live in, you know, cheap country, then yeah. But yeah, we monetize through affiliate.
So the summits are the big cake.
No, it's maybe part half of the revenue are events, and half different kind of partnerships in terms of affiliate, or some companies want to be featured on our channel, so they also pay for it. So yeah, but if people, listeners, want to know more about events we organize, only about events, the best way is to go to our website, 𝐿𝐴𝐴.com, and /events. There is like a menu, navigation menu called events, and there we always keep the information up to date. For example, at the moment, we're working on event in Portugal, event in Prague in June, and starting to work on event in Lithuania, my home country, in July, in the middle of July. And we already have that information published on our page, but we are still not talking about this publicly because literally it's just a date. We don't have a venue yet. We don't have really speakers and sponsors and so on.
Nice, nice. And let me ask you something. How do you get sponsors? How do you find sponsors for your events?
Very often, you know, companies come to us by themselves, or they inquire. Sometimes we have a period when we don't have any events planned, so they are writing to us that they are interested, and we keep a list of companies which are interested to sponsor upcoming events. And most of the time, yeah, companies which are sponsoring, we know them already for a long time. They know us for some time, so it's just like warming a kind of returning relationship. And it's very rare that we get like completely new company we never worked with in some events. But yeah, basically because we are known. If we're doing physical event in Europe, there is not so many happening, not so many people are organizing. So, and already for a few years, everybody knows like 𝐿𝐴𝐴 is doing European events, and if you want something, check what they do.
Nice. So I think that it's not only for European sellers. I think 𝐼𝐴𝐴 is going to be very helpful for American and North American sellers. So if you are in the USA, Canada, Mexico, I think you should be following them, and because they have really good content.
Actually, half of our audience are North Americans, because we're doing content in English language. So like by the stats of YouTube is yeah, half, 50% at least is North America, and then maybe 30% European sellers. But actually most of the content is kind of universal. You can apply in US and in Europe. When you go to physical events, it can be maybe a bit yeah, maybe sometimes there will be like more European based, like European focused topics, just because we have a lot of European sellers participating in events, and they are seeking for information targeted for them, like tuned for them, not for so much North American content.
All right. Thank you so much, Augustas. It was a pleasure to finally meet you. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're very busy. And yeah, and thank you so much for the tips. So we're leaving this interview with two people that we have great content for us, which is 𝐭𝐫𝐞𝐞 and Chris Rawlings. So go to them. Also subscribe to 𝐼𝐸𝐶lick's YouTube channel. You're gonna find a lot of good content. I'm always watching their videos. Any final words?
I don't have much final words, but now one phrase came to me, which I learned already maybe 10 years ago, and I read it like yesterday or 2 days ago. What you do, how you do one thing, this is how you do everything, or something like that. Like the idea of this phrase is that if like when you go shopping, if you are not buying everything from the list, it means this is how you do your business. You're not accomplishing all the checklists in your business as well. So basically, focus, make sure that you do small things the way you want, like let's say your business to run or your family to function. So I like this, and sometimes I remember and try to reflect, am I doing every small thing in the way I want my life to be? And yeah, it helps me to
I like that
and see. Yeah,
I like that. I really like that. Okay, Augustas, thank you very much one more time. Can you tell everybody your websites again so people can follow up with the events?
Yeah, it's 𝐼𝐸𝐶lick.com. Kligk is 𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐚𝐥.
Just like in his microphone.
Yes. Or you can also yeah, just write regular Kligk word, 𝐼𝐸𝐶lick, and then Amazon, and you should find our website. Or the same is on
Google,
the YouTube channel.
not Amazon.
Yeah.
You said search on Amazon.
Yeah, you can try. Maybe we're on Amazon as well. And yeah, on YouTube, we publish 2-3 videos a week. So we are pretty consistent and active. So yeah, and we try to cover different topics and bring variety of different experts. So I think you can check us out to see if you want to learn from new faces and new experts in the industry.
Nice. Augustas, thank you so much. I hope to see you again soon.
Yeah,
and
it was a pleasure.
In person in Europe very soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Augustas. Bye-bye. And that was our interview with Augustas from 𝐼𝐸𝐶lick. I hope you like it. Don't forget to go to sellerboard.com, try out our software. You have a demo. You can play with all the functionalities. We have everything you need to succeed on Amazon. And don't forget to subscribe to 𝐼𝐸𝐶lick YouTube channel and our YouTube channel as well, so you can get more tips on how to sell on Amazon, make more money. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.